a person from our council, and then just to celebrate. That's why we're here. Worship was a chance for us to really get into that question of who is God and who is God calling us to be as a community. I hope that you've had this introduction to our mission, vision, and values. That video, I want to thank Ryan Anderson and his company, Paper Ketchup Productions. That actually happens to be Sharon and Nathan Anderson's son. They're over here. He does amazing work. But I will make that video available to the congregation on our next e-blast. So if you want to watch it again, it really is a great encapsulation of who we are as a church. And so I want to thank, first of all, the vision team for all the work that it's done the past year in their discernment time. I want to thank our council and our ministry teams. We really have been wrestling with this idea of identity and where we are moving in this sort of post-pandemic world. And I want to thank the congregation for all of you guys. And I hope that you know that this is us together when it comes down to it. And that the real work begins not when we just list all of this of who we are and the identity work. The real work begins when you know who you are, when you know who God is, and then that sets the tone for every other day afterwards. So I'm excited about what that future will bring, and I'm going to invite Mike Stallings up here, part of our vision team. Mike's right here. And I'm going to give him this little thing, because we are actually recording a little bit for those who couldn't be here in person. Yeah. Nothing formal.
Thank you, Pastor. A couple thoughts just on behalf of the vision team. Wanted to, first of all, thank the congregation for allowing us to help lead through this process. We started a year ago. Actually, it was maybe June or July when pastors first started calling to see who would be willing to step up and be a part of the team. If I remember correctly, our first official meeting was in August of last year. And we had, there's two goals for today, for just the couple of minutes that I'm going to be speaking with you, or talking to you here. Two goals that I have, and I want to let you know, first and foremost, this was not about us as a church or as a congregation, the vision team, coming together and creating great marketing materials. In our very first meeting, we acknowledged that right up front. Our goal is not to try to come up with a motto or a slogan that's not what it's about. We, over the course of probably 10 months or so, 9 months, met a total of about a dozen times to kind of work through this process. In the very beginning, we were meeting once a month, and then it came every couple of weeks until we got really close to Advent season, and then we took a break. And then we came back in January and continued the process, meeting regularly, but then we also engaged with the congregation. And I don't know how many of y'all remember this, but through Lenten services, we were answering questions and we were collecting all that information, and all of the answers that came from people and just what was on people's minds and their hearts got shared, and all of that got collected. Then we had a special workshop on building vision boards, and we took all that information, and it's been displayed in the sanctuary for quite some time. And in the meantime, in the background, the vision team continued to work to look at all of the just the information, the words, the ideas that were coming forth, and tried to really go through a process of discernment. We spent a lot of time in the Bible, in the Word, reading text together and pouring through that. And all of the backdrop obviously was we were hoping that at a point in time, God would actually provide the words for His vision to come forward, and that our mission would become evident to us. And I think through all of that work, it was very obvious that what eventually, finally became what was presented today, and we'll continue talking about, we'll continue seeing this, this is God's vision. This is not a group of people coming together and just trying to make stuff up that sounds good. I mean, this really flowed from the congregation. And it wasn't just the vision team, it was the entire congregation. We were nothing more than the leads of trying to help let everything kind of bubble up to the top and put it in a context, in a form that would be easy to understand, easy to digest. So I hope that when you continue to see this, the vision that God has. So this is like the end goal. This is like the perfect state, which is a world made whole through love. I mean, you can't. One of the things that we noticed right away was the word love popped up in every single meeting we had, every activity we had with different people. Love just kept hitting us in the face. And it's kind of, we already have, and we've done this for a number of years, right? We say to each other frequently, right? We are a Christ-centered group of individuals, of people who are here to love God, love people, serve the world. And it's like that sums it up. But it was interesting to see when we tried to pull ourselves away from that and just have a fresh slate, love still just kept coming forward. And so it's obvious that that's what God intends for us. And then the mission to love like Jesus so that each person experiences God's way. Again, the word love is there. But it was important to remind ourselves as Christians, Jesus showed us the way to be. And so what better mission to just put it right out there and say that. I mean, that's what we're here to do, is to love like Jesus taught us. And we want to make sure that every person, no matter who they are, where they're from, every person experiences God's way. So I think there's enough packed into just that vision and mission that we're going to see over the next many years. All of that getting unpacked. I see a lot of Bible studies being able to just kind of really dive into just those words as we all learn to figure out how we continue to live out those visions, mission, and then the values, the core values that come with that. And I think the last thing I will say is there were 4 core values that we felt really summarized most of what we had. There were so many values that we talked about and that came forward. And one of the first pieces of feedback we got, that I got, was, why is love not one of those core values? And the reality is love is. We just did not list it as one of those 4, but both the mission and the vision have love in them. And love is the central concept to all of this. So we didn't feel like it was necessary to call that out as a value, but it's obvious that it is. And I think that's all I have. If anybody has any questions or comments, we're more than happy to. I'm happy. Anybody else that's here from the vision team is happy to. Yes, absolutely. What do you have, Becky?
Nothing to do with that, but you are eating Pennsylvania Dutch hamburger barbecue if you've never had that before. And there is ice cream over there, so don't forget to get your ice cream and come back from there.
Excellent. Thanks, Becky. Yes, sir.
We thank the congregation and a lot of the leaders, but I think we owe a special word of thanks to our pastor, Payne, and Pastor Andrew. These guys, we get really good pastors in this congregation.
Yes.
And to Mike's point, there is more to come. I know, here I'll film myself for those who will view this online later. I know we'll be launching a sermon series in the end of October and November, in which we're going to be looking specifically 1 week at vision, 1 week at mission, and then each subsequent week at our core values. And so this is stuff that we are going to talk about all the time. It's going to be ingrained in our council meetings and our team leader meetings and our fellowship time. And the goal of it being is not just to have it in our sort of leadership, but to continue to move outward into our congregation, and our congregation to move outward into the world. So in your own lives, what will that look like here? It might not Don't mean it right. Thanks, Bruce. I'm about to wrap up anyways, but I want to ask Megan to come up here. Megan's our vice president on council, just to say a couple of words from that arena. Clip that to you, or you can hold it either way.
All right. Hello, guys. All right, I done messed this up already. Got it. Hold on. Don't touch the mic. Just touch the clip. Well, I just wanted to thank the congregation and the vision team on behalf of the council for the work and thoughts and prayer that went into the process of developing our new mission, vision, and values. It's been really humbling and very heartwarming to look at the vision boards and all of the work that's been done by the congregation that's in the fellowship hall. I think it's really cool to see how everybody's ideas just came into play with this. I think our initial intention for redeveloping our mission, vision, and values really was to look deeper into why we are who we are. What does Peace want to be? What do we want to do? I think our lives inside and outside of the church should truly be the same. The intention for this is to enrich our relationship with God in our home, at work, in our church, and with our church family. To love like Jesus in all aspects of our lives. So that each person we come into contact can experience God's way, showing the world's love like Jesus. So I'm so excited for the future of our congregation. We have so many opportunities to show our compassion, the grace, service, shalom. We're already doing a whole bunch of really cool things. We're already doing really cool things in our congregation already. Our Peace Pantry, you can tell it's making a difference. Thank you, Becky, for the idea and for really focusing on this. I think I'm a part of a lot of social media groups, and there was one where it was shared by one of the Moms of New Braunfels groups of a person that was needing food, and they automatically said, hey, Peace has a pantry. If you need something to eat, go eat. So just the relationships that we have with our food bank, with our children's ministry. Thank you, Deacon Andrew, for everything that you do and to enrich our kids' lives, because the volunteering has definitely enriched my own children's lives. First Footing, Crisis Center, Family Promise, many, many more, but I'm more excited just to see what we can do as a congregation in living up to our new mission, vision, and values. So thank you on behalf of the council. So.
So we talked about some new things today. I want to talk to you about what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed is God, Jesus, and God's love for this world. So the vision, mission, values process that we went through wasn't to try to be a different church, but to say, how do we live faithfully according to how we've always been called as the church through the centuries? But specifically to say, what about this congregation that's on Walnut in New Braunfels, Texas, and how do we see ourselves engaging with our neighbors here? So you all really helped to lift that up. We're still going to say, love God, love people, serve the world every Sunday. Don't worry, that's not going away. We're not replacing that. That is kind of a mantra of this congregation, and it's, as you can see, it really found its way even into our core values, our mission statement, and things like that. So I'd like to encourage all of us as we move forward to keep the mission statement and the vision and the values in front of you, and not just when you're here. Maybe put them on your refrigerator at home, or someplace like in your room or your school notebook or something like that. Those are reminders that we're all called to do those things all the time, and to find ways in our individual lives to love like Jesus so that every person experiences God's way. All of you have a unique way of doing that and a unique context to doing that. One of the things you'll be hearing about more this year is a Life of Faith initiative, which is really geared toward helping us to understand how do we live our faith outside of Sunday mornings at church? What is a life of faith look like? And how do we really live fully into that, loving like Jesus, whether it's at work or at school or on the playground or on a sports team or with a group of friends having lunch together or with your family or whatever it is. So know that that's going to be one of the themes that's going to be coming out this year. We're part of an ELCA initiative to start working on that. I won't go into a lot of detail other than to say it really is an extension of what we've done with this mission, vision, and values. So I have been a part of many congregations in my life. Some of them I was a member from when I was wee little, and some of them was as I've been on staff or as a called leader. I just want to compliment this congregation for the work you've done for the last year. You really, really embraced this idea of being open to not how do we become a different congregation, but how do we find the words that reflect us now? And of course, that's going to change several years from now, right? I mean, that's always evolving, but I can tell you this congregation, the vision team, the church council, Pastor Jake, and then all the things we've done as a congregation have been really, really exciting and fun to be a part of. And for me to just kind of sit back and watch and see how this congregation is doing. And I can tell you it's been a healthy process. It's been a joyful process. I think that's what's come out of this. You know, we had so many words we could have added to our this and that and the other. The hard part, we're sort of condensing things down. That doesn't mean we're limiting this congregation to the words on a page. We're just saying these are words that help guide us and steer us. So whatever groups you're part of in the congregation, but whatever things you're part of in your life, maybe reflect back on this mission and vision and those values of grace and shalom and service and compassion, and say, how am I living those values out in my own faith, in my own life, wherever it is that I go? And know that the church is a body of people who are committed to doing that together. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your participation. Everybody, every step of the way. I'm really excited to see how this mission drives this congregation it forward for the next several, who knows how many years, in terms of the direction we have. But clearly, we've got a lot of work to do in the world. We have a lot of work to do with our lives, so we just pray for God's blessing. So let's close with the prayer. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for how blessed this congregation has been and continues to be. We give you thanks for all of the faithful witnesses who help to shape this congregation and bring it to fruition. And we give you thanks for everyone who is here right now, whether they're in this room or whether they're listening at another time. Know that we are connected each to one another. Just as Paul said in his letter to the Romans, we are members of one body, and that one body is the body of Jesus Christ. And so help us as we go forward from today to live that claim of love in the world, to be witnesses and examples of that love in all that we do, and say, give us strength, give us courage, continue to guide our leadership and our congregation, inspire us, direct us, and most of all, remind us that your love and your grace sustains everything that we do. And we pray this in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus. Amen.